We'd like to take a moment to award Will Goodon as the most disgraceful Métis with 3 medals of fraud, corruption, and lies. You worked hard to earn these medals, Will. And so for that, we award you the Medal of Fraud, the Medal of Corruption, and the Medal of Lies. You are a disgrace to the Métis people. You're a disgrace to the Métis community. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Metis Warrior, here with Timothy and Alexandria.
Hello everybody.
So we are the Metis Warrior Media Group, and we are a news outlet for Métis news and indigenous news. And I just want to put out there that we will have guests on that we may not agree with their views, and we have had guests on that we did not agree with their views, and our guests may not agree with our views. But as a media news outlet, we will have guests on who have a bunch of different variety of opinions and views. All we're doing is bringing you the news to the Métis community out there. And so we do appreciate your support out there. And now I say that because Will Goodon has been out there spreading a lot of hate speech in the Métis community. And he's been making claims that, oh, you know, if these people that he don't agree with go to certain media outlets, then yeah, they're supporting us and we're supporting them or whatever. But the bottom line is that as the largest Métis news outlet out there, yes, we will have different people on that have different views and opinions. So the disclaimer here is we not necessarily agreeing with their views, and they may not necessarily agree with our views. Now I can speak real slow if Will Goodon needs me to put this in another show again so he can clearly understand it. I can speak as slowly as he needs me to speak so he can get it through his head that there's a Métis news outlet that people come onto the show, and he's neglected to come onto the show. Why? Because we've been asking him questions about his corruption. We've been asking him questions about the lies that's been out there, about the fraud, and you know, one of the things that Will Goodon and Chartrand has been spreading is the biggest threat to the Métis funding is the Eastern Métis. No, your biggest threat to the Métis funding is Chartier, Goodon, and Chartrand. They are your threat to your funding. You got to realize that they get money from the federal government in order to benefit the Métis people. Now, yeah, they are going to throw some money out here and there that looks really good for them to do this, right? However, there has been a lot of corruption within the MNC and the MMF especially, and we have questioned them and they refuse to answer the questions on the corruption. And one of the things that's disheartening about that is Will Goodon recently used the word atrocious. So here, let's look at the word atrocious for a moment. So let's define this. Atrocious, something horrifyingly wicked or of a poor quality, extremely bad or unpleasant. Now, when it comes down to it, Metis Warrior does not fit that because we represent truth and transparency. What does Will Goodon represent? Fraud, lies, and corruption, as you're going to learn in this show. He called the Metis Warrior Media Group the most atrocious show out there. What is atrocious about our show, Will? Is it that we ask for transparency? We ask you to answer the corruption on where the Métis money is going, where the taxpayers' dollars is going? Is it atrocious for us to put truth onto our shows? Is that what you call an atrocious? Because for me, what I call atrocious is the corruption within the Métis organization, is the fraud within the Métis organization, is the misuse of funds within the Métis organization. That is atrocious. And so this guy has received an award. We gave Will Goodon an award. We gave him 3 medals. 1 for corruption, 1 for lies, and 1 for fraud. And we're going to get into just how he earned those awards. And he's deserving of it. I mean, he's worked hard for it. He's earned these awards. And so his mistreatment of indigenous women, you will see actual video in this show. So I encourage you to watch this entire show so you can see how he's mistreated indigenous women. And it's crazy that he's been recognized by a different organization, which we'll get into, and given a medal. They gave him a medal. Obviously, how much money, Métis money, has that organization benefited? And has he just basically bought the medal to use as a bargaining tool with the federal government?
So, folks, before we go into today's show, I think it's important for all of our listeners to understand that truth, transparency, and accountability are very, very scary to corrupt organizations and very, very scary to corrupt individuals. So anybody that speaks the truth, of course, will be attacked by the individuals that are trying to stifle the truth. So they become a threat. So I encourage everybody in the Métis community, keep speaking truth, because again, the people like the MNC, MMF, Will Goodon, they're scared of the truth, accountability, and transparency.
And one more thing that I would like to say here. Okay, so as they've attacked people for claiming their Métis identity, and again, I want to address this, and let me speak slowly for Will Goodon here, okay? I want to speak very slowly. Yes, Will, there is fake Métis out there. There is people claiming to be Métis that is not Métis, and they are going after Métis funding. Yes, we understand that, Will. There is fake Métis out there. However, now I'm going to speed it up a little bit for you, Will, so if you got to, you can rewind this and re-listen to it, and you can slow down the speed if you got the right audio equipment where you can slow down the speed so you can better understand this. But let me get you to understand this. We recognize there is people out there pretending to be Métis, and they're trying to do it in order to receive funding under false pretenses. Yes. And so the real threat is, again, Chartier, Chartrand, and Goodon. That's the real threat to the Métis funding.
And folks, again, for some of you that may not be in the know, Will Goodon, I'm not even going to call him minister. He's, again, Minister of Housing, Property Management, the Strategic Planning and Policy Committee, and also part of the Southwest Region, Inc. in Brandon, Manitoba. And like Timothy mentioned earlier, I just read this, you'll see the screen is now going to be the recent recipient of the Order of Gabriel Dumont Silver Medal. We're going to talk about this in a later show. I need folks to have someone like Will Goodon being a recipient of the Order of Gabriel Dumont. Gabriel Dumont would be rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Actually disgusting, atrocious, and an outrage. But we did in a previous show in 2019 where it was brought to our attention that Will Goodon mistreated Métis women in Saskatchewan when he was there for the MNLA. He actually called the cops on them for speaking against framework and corruption. So this is a Métis man that called the cops on Métis women for trying to speak truth against framework and corruption. You're going to see a screenshot about that as well.
No,
folks.
you're going to see the video.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so right now I'd like for you to take a look at the video. Take a look.
Hand up. For our French-speaking people, you didn't understand either, and you put your hand up. That is disrespectful for the government not to have translators for all people to understand. For our Cree Nations in English, we needed translators. For our people that have to read all those MOUs, all those, whatever, all those other things in legal terms, we don't even understand it. I have been trained for many years, and I'm sorry, I need time to understand and to look. For our people that know French, give us time to look at the budget.
I shook my girl's hand.
You were right. You know, in those budgets are built-in salaries that you would not approve. And, you know, like, I'm pretty sure they say disrespect. That's totally disrespect. And I will walk away from here because I respect my elder. He's from Green Lake. I'm from Green Lake. And this is really horrible, and I'm sorry for the government of Canada to take 5%, 10% membership of Metis Nation and to blow an MOU people do not understand is not to be to consult. We have other alternatives, and it's United Nations Declaration of Representation for Indigenous Peoples. And that tells you we have to have free, informed, prior consent for any land negotiation, regardless of who thinks they are negotiating on our behalf. I put this something, very something for you and to think that people that did not respect the people at the table will go to you and speak for 3 minutes on how they totally respect the membership when all they asked was to have us speaking, to be listened to.
Well, now he's got a blue hat on today.
You have to have free, price, informed.
So I wonder what was his intent in speaking in mischief yesterday.
Our original people spoke mischief, but they spoke
I could tell that was a bullshit lie when he was speaking in that language.
That was another 2 different distinctions. And I respect our elders. But I will stand there and I will put forth my treasurer's report.
I hope it's a better report than the ones we heard yesterday, because those were reports, those are good stories. Yeah.
Well, they probably caught your mic. Yeah, they caught your mic.
Prior informed decision making.
Now they turn mics on. And then the call change.
See, we know. So this is what things you do, because you know they're not going to let people speak. 2,500 people voted for this woman, and
those people are hired by us by our money. Excuse me, you're a reporter, and we pay you.
That's right.
You talk about disrespect, and I watched that man from Manitoba. No wonder Saskatchewan people ran away from Manitoba. Right. Like, think about it. Is that the government you want? It could only happen to me. It will happen to each and every one of you. And what other thing is, when you put out people and you don't know about anything wrong, liability, and become your part, and which is one of the reasons why today, unless we make some changes, I cannot sit there. I will lose my designation. I will lose the respect of my people. That's even more important to me.
Because you guys are losing the respect of your people.
You have 5% right now. That thing does not mean anything, that registration. It was compromised. You are representing 5% of Metis Nation Saskatchewan. And let me tell you, 95% of Metis Saskatchewan now know. And you can use your legal terms, Cheryl, but we're not a not-for-profit organization or corporation.
This is
we are a government of the people.
That's right. And you need to listen to your people. Your people are suffering while you guys are all meeting with government, cuddling up to the government that oppressed us all this time. None of you want to hear what your people want to do to move on. You said you were going to build nationhood. That means going from nation to nation. That means going to all your locals and finding out what they need. That's where our money needs to go. Not to following up the government and doing what they say. We know what to do. We're the people living it.
Good thing we
This
didn't
is
bring
our
our bags
General
with us.
Assembly. You wanted to hear
Good thing we
from
didn't bring our
us.
bags
Then
with
you
us.
try to
We don't have to worry about
you
them.
disrespect our women. Get them off your table. Well, however way you have to do it, call the cops on me because I'm saying something while you all signed your gag order. Can't talk to the people. That's what your gag order says. Listen, solidarity is willful. It's not written in a contract. It's willful. It's a free choice, solidarity. You don't have to go along to get along, bull crap. Get it together for your people. The government has never offered our people anything good for us.
I mean,
Nothing.
Keith laughed. I said,
And if
hey,
you want to see
hey,
this
Keith,
framework
can I
agreement
serve you any
enacted, look
coffee?
at your First
Any
Nations
Bannock?
relatives. They're already dealing with it. Turning them into municipalities, making them pay tax. Get yourselves together. There's something wrong here. Mama cease. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
So there you just seen Will Goodon and others disgracing and disrespecting Métis women. So how is it that the Gabriel Dumont Institute was able to give this guy an award? He needs to be stripped of the award. People can place phone calls to the Gabriel Dumont Institute and ask for his award to be stripped. This is not right for Indigenous Métis women to be treated this way. This is just not right.
It's appalling that Will Goodon, again, is mistreating Métis women in Saskatchewan. This occurred in the Metis Nation Legislative Assembly. They're laughing, not allowing the women to speak against framework and corruption, and again, calling the police for women trying to speak truth. That is appalling that you're not allowing Métis women to speak truth and to speak against framework and corruption. Appalling, and again, mistreating Métis women.
Using the colonial system against the Métis members, the women, the Métis women. And so this is unjust. It is not right, and this guy should not have any kind of award from the Gabriel Dumont Institute. And again, for transparency, let's find out how much money, please release how much money has been released to that institute through the MMF, because that is corrupt. They allowed this man to be bought an award. That is our question, that he purchased this award through taxpayer dollars that were maybe have given to this institute. So we need the answers to that. And you can speak out, and you can let the Gabriel Dumont Institute know that you are not happy that this person that likes to insult, disrespect, and disgrace Indigenous women was given the award by the Gabriel Dumont Institute. Okay, folks, so again, we bring you the news, okay? So one of the things Will Goodon tries to do is say that Metis Warrior Media Group has supported the Métis in the U.S. Well, their own homeland map, that bogus homeland map, includes areas in the U.S. Now, you got to understand that the U.S. funding does not interfere with the Canadian funding that's going to the Métis in Canada. It's two different pools of funding there, okay? And so he wants to attack people who are claiming to be Métis. Why? And again, you know, they are so corrupt in a lot of their behavior. We had a lot of shows up on them on a different channel, and we will be getting those shows back up, but let's get back into it.
And a lot of you, like Timothy had mentioned previously, we have reached out to Will Goodon or the Manitoba Métis Federation to come on our show to give his viewpoint. He doesn't have the courage to respond. He doesn't have the courage to come on our show. So he's hiding something when you don't have the courage to come and speak to a show. He'll go on APTN, but we know they're bought and sold by the MMF. That's no matter here nor there.
And actually, this to you listeners, to our Métis audience out there, understand that Will Goodon is refusing to speak to y'all. He's refusing to speak to y'all by coming on our show. So this is a slap in the face to y'all by Will Goodon. But go ahead.
And like I said, Will Goodon is all over Twitter, social media, promoting his hate speech, his discrimination speech against Métis. And in an up-and-coming show, you may be surprised to see part of Will Goodon's genealogy and where some of his ancestors come from. That's going to be a real eye-opener. But get to the crux of today's show. As some may or may not know, the Métis Nation of BC is having their AGM. It was rescheduled for February 18th to the 20th, 2021, and they're going virtual on Zoom. And you'll see this, you can read this in a screenshot as well, where the MNBC AGM, and they have a note right on the website, you must be an MNBC citizen in order to attend. That's a big, big thing. You'll see that again.
Now let's get that. Understand what? Repeat that one more time.
This is right on the MNBC website for the AGM. You must be a Métis Nation of BC citizen in order to attend the AGM. Did I say it slowly enough for you, Will Goodon? And
so let's understand this, folks. Let's look at some more of the fraud that Will Goodon is going to commit here during this meeting. Now, knowing this, he tried to log into the meeting. Okay, he tried to get in the meeting. They found out he was in the meeting. They booted him out. He tried again to get back into the meeting. Why would he be trying to get into this meeting knowing he's not authorized to be there according to the requirements to be at this meeting? This is the question we asking, right? So what does he do after getting booted out the second time? He tries to come in under a different name, a different account. And let's go into that.
And according to our source, Will Goodon was not supposed to host, and the decision was made by the suspended President Clara Dalcal at the last board to have Zach Romano, Zach Romano is a Métis Nation of BC citizen, chair the meeting. So the suspended president, they've already made the decision that Will Goodon was not supposed to host that meeting.
Now let's understand this, okay? According to our source, and we have a very reliable source here, that the suspended president actually agreed to not have Will Goodon host this meeting. So you got to understand that, okay? Now after she became suspended, who did she run to? But let's go into more.
And you're going to see this right from Will Goodon, and this was posted on the Citizenship Forum MNBC Issues 2021, right from him. He said, I was on the meeting 2 times as Will Goodon. So he was on the meeting 2 times. How could he be on the meeting if he's not a Métis Nation of BC citizen? So that's number 1. And he said, each time I was booted. And it said, and then he goes into, this is the crucial point. And then he goes into that more, and you'll hear that as well where he's discussing that. But the crucial point that I have to really bring to the attention is that he said he registered in another name.
So in another name, fraud, corruption, folks. Yeah, you earned the medals that you got, Goodon. Will Goodon, you earned your medals there. So you registered in another name in order to try to sneak into the meeting. That's how dirty this person is. And he's in a leadership position at the MMF. But go ahead.
Well, again, you can read this screenshot right from Will at your own length, where he said, he clearly says in his name, his own words, that he was registered in another name. Identity fraud. This is identity theft. And it just actually stuns me. And again, ask yourself the question, how could Will Goodon get in on the meeting in the first place? And it would appear, it's been alleged, that Will Goodon would have to be, and this is alleged, be in possession of Métis Nation of BC citizenship numbers, or it's been alleged that Will Goodon is impersonating one or more people.
Right. And so that right there is corruption, fraud, and lies, folks. The 3 medals he's earned from us. The 3 medals that we awarded him with. The Métis Hall of Shame. This guy is so, I mean, it is such a disgrace to the Métis people. But yet you have people puckering up and going to his butt out there, and they're applauding him. Certain people, it's the same suspects, right? Certain people out there always to his butt out there all over social media and applauding him for his BS that he puts out there. Let's understand that. And so, and recently, he has attacked people who is transparent. Our past guest was one of them, who is transparent and trying to get more transparency out there. But they are very transparent, and this guy is trying to attack people who are honest and transparent. Why? Can anybody say green money? Greed? Can anybody say the word greed? Financial greed would be a potential motivation. And so, yeah, was it identity theft? That is the question Métis Warriors asked. Was this a real person that he tried to steal their identity, or was this just a made-up name?
Well, I guess you have to ask yourself the question, to all the listeners, why was the MMF, Will Goodon, so desperate to infiltrate the MNBC AGM, where he would, it's alleged, resort to using maybe other MNBC citizenship numbers, and where it would be alleged he's resorting to use other people's identity to gain access to the MNBC AGM. Is that a person that has integrity, that is transparent? This is corruption.
That's not an honest person.
So you've got Will Goodon in the past that has mistreated Métis women. You've seen the video. He's called the cops on Métis women for speaking truth and transparency.
And that's ironic, ain't it? As much fraud and corruption there is through the MNC and the MMF, that he would actually pick up the phone and call the cops on 2 indigenous women, when there's so much theft of tax dollars going on, or I should say, the appropriate word would be misappropriation of tax dollars. And if this don't piss off every Canadian taxpayer, then there's something wrong to know that this guy has a say in what is going on there.
So how underhanded is it to allegedly impersonate somebody else and allegedly use possibly MNBC citizenship numbers to infiltrate an AGM that speaks and reeks of corruption? That's an individual that has no morals, so he's all over social media perpetrating lateral violence, lateral damage, mistreating Métis women. Is that a person that is trustworthy? I mean, why are they so desperate to infiltrate the MNBC, and they have their social media trolls all over the place that are bad-mouthing people? So he's accusing us of bad-mouthing people that don't agree with us. This is a prime example of Will Goodon being a hypocrite, being a puppet for the MMF MNC, that he is so desperate, allegedly trying to impersonate somebody else, or allegedly possibly be in possession of MNBC citizenship numbers.
So, and we know he called our show atrocious because we go after corrupt organizations and corrupt people, and he's trying to sway people from listening to our show, because guess what? He don't want people to find out the corruption and the truth out there. Let's look at what would fit in there. A media outlet that represents truth and transparency, or someone who is committing fraudulent acts? Yes, Will Goodon, you are the atrocious person. That is atrocity, what you did.
And again, to have somebody in a leadership role for Métis people, and again, I'm going to keep harping on it because it's so very, very important. Again, the MNBC, their website says right about the AGM, you must be an MNBC citizen in order to attend. How did Will Goodon get in the meeting in the first place. And again, we mentioned in Will Goodon's own words that he was in there several times. He got booted out. And again, in Will Goodon's own words, he registered in another name. He's committing fraud, identity theft. According to our sources, too, we were told that Data on the Spot is the tech company. They were figuring out that IP addresses did not match up, and they were also put on notice that people from Manitoba could possibly try to disrupt the AGM. And of course, we have Will Goodon trying that in his own words, saying that as well.
And so the one thing we don't know is, at this point in time, and we will find out, what is the account that he used, what is the name that he used to sneak in or attempt to sneak in after he knew that he'd been booted from the meeting twice already. Why did he use another fake name, or was it a real name? Was he possibly committing identity theft? Or was he somebody give him their profile to use, or did he invent a whole fake profile to try to sneak into the meeting? So, I mean, you know, you talk about somebody like that, and what are they afraid of? What is Will Goodon afraid of? Is he afraid that he can't misappropriate, the amount of funds that he'll be able to misappropriate will dwindle? Because the MNBC is calling for transparency and truth. Why would somebody with the history of Will Goodon really want Clara back in the office? Why? What is the financial benefit for him to have her back in the office? They said that this could be put to rest. It could be over with if she would have just met and done what the people were requiring her to do, her job. And instead of doing that, she went the colonial route of lawsuit and turned on her own people. And I suspect that this has a air of financial greed. And it's not for, and I just want to break this down for the people listening. If the federal government, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, gives you, all right, well, we can do a retraction right now on the last show too. On the last show, our guest said it was $4.2 billion that was given. He had the numbers reversed. It was actually 2.4. So let's clarify that, okay? $2.4 billion, not 4.2. But let's say that these people are given $2.4 billion, right? And you have only a handful of people that's in charge of this money. And how much of that money is getting misappropriated, right? So there's a real threat that the MMF, MMC will lose their hands in that jar, that pile of money. They're going to lose access to that because the MNBC right now, the Board of 9 is calling for truth and transparency. And that is not good in fitting in with people who like and love to misappropriate funds. And we're going to go more into the real estate scandals here in an upcoming show, because we're not just saying this. We have validated proof of the things that we are saying.
So, folks, again, what is truly atrocious is Will Goodon being the recipient of the Order of Gabriel Dumont Silver Medal. How in their right mind could you give this honor to an individual that has clearly mistreated Métis women in Saskatchewan for the MNLA, and clearly he's trying to infiltrate an MNBC AGM when our source has told us there was a decision that he was not to host, and the decision was made by the suspended president, Clara Dalcal, and the last board. How can you really get behind an individual that is just so corrupt? And it all comes down to greed, power. It's not for the welfare of the Métis people. It's the almighty dollar, greed, and power.
Exactly. And so knowing that, we want all Métis who is really Métis to benefit financially, for have their benefits, their education benefits, their hunting rights, harvesting rights. We want people to benefit. However, when you got people putting their dirty little paws all over the money before it gets to the people, and again, Yeah. Have they done great things for people? No, they have not done great things. They've done what they thought they could do to satisfy the government, to keep them, sending them more money. Understand that. They have done good things for the community, but not to the extent that it could have been done if a lot of those millions and millions of dollars would not have been misappropriated. Let's understand that. And so some people get a beer, they get a money, and then a little bit of money, and then they want to all over Chartier, Chartrand, and Goodon. That's what they want to do. They want to pucker up for a beer. They want to pucker up for a little bit of money, and get out there and defend these people. When in actuality, if they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, that a lot more money could be coming to the Métis people in a fair division of the funds.
And again, before we sign off, I think that the thing that bothers me right after mistreating Métis women, of course, is, in Will Goodon's own word, is that he was then registered in another name. I think really that's in his own words, that really bothers me, that somebody would stoop to that level. No morality, underhandedness, to want to infiltrate a meeting so bad that you would stoop to that level. I'm just really appalled. That is the true atrocity there, folks.
And we're going to re-upload some of our past shows that's not on this channel. We'll have to put them on this channel so that you will be able to see in upcoming shows the level of corruption, the real estate BS that goes on, all the proof that we put out there in the past of the corruption within the MNC and the MMF. We're going to put it back out there. And yeah, so Will, you should definitely not be in the position that you're in within the MMF. We need new blood in there. We need new people. We need people that are honest and transparent. And you can't help but to applaud the 9 that are calling for transparency and truth and honesty. And when you have people attacking people that are calling for that, then obviously those people have a very dirty reason for attacking these people that are calling for truth and transparency. And it's just wrong. And I want to put out there again, we are a Métis media outlet. And so, yeah, we have guests on who may agree with our views, may not agree with our views, and we may agree with their views, and we may not agree with their views. That's just something that's called common sense. When you look at a news organization, they're going to have a variety of guests on. And so, yeah.
And for everybody out there that is walking the path of truth, keep having the courage to speak the truth. We need answers. We should get the answers. Truth, transparency, and accountability. And we know that the people that are truth speakers are the ones that get consistently attacked on social media, because the truth is a very powerful weapon and the corrupt are very afraid.
And they want to silence the truth speakers and try to intimidate and attack them for this reason. They do not want the federal government to stop giving them the money. They don't want the federal government to take their dirty little hands off that money. So, you know, where is all this money going that has been misappropriated? And again, we're going to look into the corruption of that. We will re-upload some of our past shows. And again, if you support Will in this issue, it's very simple. Don't watch or listen to our show. If you do not support Will, then please listen. Our audience base tells us how we're doing. So if we have a significant amount of people that are supporting our channel and that is supporting us, then that tells us that we must be doing something right, that they like what they're hearing because they keep coming back and listening to our shows. And so let's just, that's out there. You do not have to listen to our show. You can always not listen to this show if you don't like the show. And that's just it. And so the fact that we have such a huge audience and Will refuses to come on and answer our questions about a lot of the corruption that we, or I should say misappropriation of funds that we've seen in this corrupt, fraudulent, and lying act that he just committed, why not come on and do it? We'll have you come on the show and we'll ask you the questions and give you a fair chance to respond. And you're speaking to a Métis audience. So by not coming on, you're just slapping the Métis people in the face.
And again, the truth is really hard for people that are corrupt, because when you continually tell lies, lies are harder to remember, of course, than the truth. And again, Will Goodon is a disgrace to Métis out there, and there are lost sheep that follow him willingly without realizing the facts. And it's really, really sad that you're on the propaganda parade, but hoping one day that you do wake up and you see the truth and the truth and the need for transparency and accountability.